Hello, Legacy Geometry students. Today we're going to talk about some very important triangles. That should be V-I-T on top, not V-I-P. So special right triangles, you're going to want that foldable we made in class today. Notes, pen or pencil, and then calculator. So refer back. You want to put these notes right beside that where we talked about how the special right triangle formulas came from, where they came from. You're going to want that right by these notes so when you start to take them in your notebook. In a 45-45-90 triangle, the main formula that we're going to be using is the hypotenuse equals a leg times the square root of 2. Now, legs, guys, they are just the pieces here. Now, if you remember, since this is a isosceles triangle, our legs are congruent. So if this leg is 2, this leg's also going to be 2. And then this guy is leg times the square root of 2. That is our hypotenuse's amount. 30, 60, 90, just a little different. Short leg is across from the 30-degree angle. This is our short guy. This is shorty. Across from 60 is the long leg. And then right across from the right angle we have our hypotenuse. Now, just like I talked about in class, your short leg is the first and most important guy in a 30, 60, 90 triangle. If you don't have short leg, you need to get him because he unlocks everybody else. Because if you notice, to get the hypotenuse, you need to have the short leg. To get the long leg, you need to have the short leg. So you want to have the short leg first before anybody else. So you're going to want to copy these 5 examples in your notes, place them by that little foldable we made in class. That way, when you're referring back and you're like, how'd they get those formulas again? You can refer back to that foldable later. So I have this first example. I have a 30, a 90. This guy's got to be a 60 up here. So I got 30, 60, 90 triangle. I need to figure out what I have. Well, across from the 30-degree angle is my short leg. So 4 has to be my short leg, which is good. In a 30, 60, 90, that's the first thing I want is the short leg. So let's find the other guys. I know the hypotenuse is 2 times my short leg. So if my short leg is 4, I know my hypotenuse has to be 2 times 4, aka 8. So cross the way right here, x has to be 8. Okay? Then across from the 60, this is my long leg. We need to find the long leg. Now, long leg is equal to my short leg times the square root of 3. So aka basically short leg with a square root of 3 attached on. So my short leg is 4, so my long leg is 4 times the square root of 3. And that's it. You do not need to change this. This is just a number. 4 times the square root of 3. Since the square root of 3 and the 4 are not both in a radical, you can't change it. So that is my side length. 4 times the square root of 3 and 8 for x and y. Let's try a second example here. So let's see, what do we have here? This 9, he is across from the 60, so he is the long leg. Don't like that. I want to have the shorty first. Shorty comes first. So I know that the long leg is equal to my short leg times the square root of 3. So let's plug in what we know. My long leg is 9. Short leg is x times the square root of 3. Need to figure what that is. Let's divide by the square root of 3. Now, here's the problem though. We can't have the square root of 3 in the denominator. It's a big no-no in math. So, to get rid of him, we need to what's known as rationalize the denominator, aka multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 3. All technically I'm doing is multiplying by 1 over here. So then 9 times the square root of 3, that's just 9 times the square root of 3, over square root of 3 times the square root of 3, which is, multiply the numbers inside, so square root of 9, which, that's just 3, right? So technically I have 9 square root of 3 over 3 equals x right now. And I notice 9 over 3, that simplifies, right? So I'm going to get 3 square root of 3 equals my x value. Whew. That took me a while to get that short leg. So this guy is 3 square root of 3. And I'm not done. I still need the hypotenuse of this triangle. But remember, hypotenuse, since we now have our short leg, is pretty dang easy. It's because hypotenuse equals 2 times my short leg. And I already know my short leg is 3 square root of 3. So I'm going to just multiply the numbers on the outside. This guy cannot be touched. He's currently in a jail cell. Can't undo that. So I actually am going to have 6 square root of 3 for my hypotenuse, aka y. When you're given the long leg first, it might be kind of hairy scary, but it's not too bad actually. Usually the radical in this junk is going to be the hardest part for this kind. Let's try the third example with these. I got 60, so this guy's got to be 30 up here. Let's see who we have. It looks like, guys, the first person, the number 6, he is across from the right angle. So it looks like he is my hypotenuse. So, don't have my short leg. Need the short leg. So 30 across, that is x. So x has got to be my short leg. But I do know that a hypotenuse is 2 times my short leg. Well, my hypotenuse, let's just plug in what we know. My hypotenuse is 6, 2 times my short leg. And my short leg is x. Now notice, guys, x is not alone. I need to isolate him, get him alone. So let's divide by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So I now know my short leg is 3 units. Now, since I have shorty, I can now find my long leg, which is across from the 60, so that would be y. Formula to get me the long leg. That is long leg equals the short leg times the square root of 3. Let's plug in what we know. So long leg is y. Short leg, that's across from the 30. That's 3. Drop down the square times the square root of 3. And that's my answer. 3 square root of 3 equals my long leg. Working with the formulas is the only way to get used to these. Those two formulas, you'll start to memorize them after a while just because you'll be using them when we do our practice quite a bit. And now let's go off into the 45, 45, 90 degree triangle. So notice he is a 45. Then I have a 45 up here. The coolest thing though, since these two base angles are congruent, this side and that side are congruent. So I know immediately that x equals 10. Because remember, the legs of a 45, 45, 90 triangle are in fact congruent. Then I still need the hypotenuse. Formula, it's not the square root of 3, it is the square root of 2. So hypotenuse equals a leg times the square root of 2. My hypotenuse, that looks like it's y. Leg, one of my legs, it's worth 10 times the square root of 2. Well, that's just 10 square root of 2. And that is the answer. So my legs are both 10, and my hypotenuse is just a leg with a square root of 2 attached. And let's try the final example of the night. So it looks like we are missing both of our legs because they are both congruent. So we do know this is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Well, I know that my hypotenuse is equal to my leg times the square root of 2. Not 3. Silly fingers. I meant to write 2. There we go. Hypotenuse, that's this guy, 6 square root of 2, equals a leg. Well, I'm just going to use x for the leg, because if I find x, I'm going to get y as well. So x times the square root of 2. Now notice, guys, x is not alone, so we do need to solve for him. Ooh, got to divide by the square root of 2. So then divide over here. Square root of 2 divided by square root of 2, that's going to cancel down to 1. So I'm going to be left with x over here. And then, whoop, the square root of 2's are going to cancel there as well. So I'm actually going to get 6 for a leg. Which if x is 6, since my legs are the same in a 45, 45, 90 triangle, my y is also going to be 6. And that's the end of this video. See you later, Sabers.